hey guys, welcome to another stream on Azure Developer Community channel. And today we have with us Chaitanya, who will be taking the session forward, and he'll be giving us a brief introduction about how to get started with Azure certifications and how to ace them. So, without wasting any time, let me welcome Chaitanya. So, Chaitanya, please come up. Stage is now all yours.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you for the introduction. Uh, Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Hope you can see the presentation right now. Yeah. Without further ado, let's get into the meeting. Yep. Yeah. So today's topic is how do we get started with Azure certifications, uh, aka the journey, as I call it, because Azure itself is a massive cloud. Many companies use it, many conglomerates use it. So, getting into something like Azure could be intimidating to a person who doesn't know much about cloud or who doesn't know much about Azure. Although you might know about cloud or on-premise data centers, etc., you might not just be familiar with Azure. So, to break that barrier, we are here today to let you know like what kind of certification paths are out there on Azure and what learning resources that you could use to gain them, so that you could stand at a point where you could comfortably say that I can attempt a Azure certification exam and I could crack it. So that's what our goal is. So let's get into it. Yep. Moving on. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. So this is a shameless plug about me. This is me, guys. I'm Chaitanya. I work as a product lead at Cirrus Nexus Corporation, and I am a certified Azure administrator. And like you could see out there, I am a cloud cost and performance optimization strategist. And like any average nerd, I read tech blogs daily. I also watch anime. And another funny note, I have a cat named Rowdy as well. So yeah, that's something. Yeah, I think you should know about me. Before we move on to the actual topic, let me just ask you, why do you think it is important to be certified? I mean, you could comment down your thoughts in the comment section, and let's see what do you actually think about the importance of certifications. Why do you think it is important to be certified? Let's see. I will wait for 10 to 20 seconds. Let's see the comments that come down. Varun, can you see any
Hi.
comments or, yeah, can we go ahead?
No, there are no comments right now. As soon as comments will come, I'll let you know.
Sure, thank you. So I'm just going to assume that all of you are either beginners or too excited to be in this webinar. So let's just move ahead. The reason that I think, and many people think, that is important to get certified is this: why do you want to be certified, and why is it important to be certified? So the thing is, there are factors that would help you in your career or in your professional journey or in your learning path, that would put you in a different percentage of top level people in your niche. So these factors contribute to why you should be certified, why you should do certifications. So these are the five factors. Competitive advantage. So let's just say when you have a training that your competitors don't. When I mean competitors, it could be your fellow folks, or it could be role that you are applying for where other applicants don't have these certifications while you have. So that kind of competitive advantage it gives you when you have certifications. Certifications can differentiate you from other professionals in your field, showing that you have demonstrated commitment to understanding and excelling in your profession. So that's why it's important to get certified. And professional credibility, there are increasing number of companies, organizations, even NGOs out there, when working with people, independent consultants, they want or even require people to be certified. Like I have seen many jobs where they have asked me if I have AZ104 Azure Administrator certification. It is a mandatory thing for them. So if I don't have a certification, I'm not even eligible for the job, because in their job field, in their company, they were using Azure predominantly. It requires the professional who is applying for the job to be mandatorily have that certification. So that's what it gives you the professional credibility to be on the top of job applicants or on top of your professional career, where you would be the first choice of companies rather than the secondary choice. So the certification demonstrates your commitment to your superior professionalism, upholding industry standards and continued learning. That's what it's about. And the earning potential, so many people would want their job to pay them good and give them their needs. Like their job should satisfy their needs and as well as their pay scale. Without a good pay scale, we would never be satisfied, because although we are doing work, our work, it's at the end of the day, it's for bread and butter, right? So that's what it's about. So coming to earning potential, Azure certifications put you in a different pay scale than others who don't do it. Because let's just say you are a normal developer in India, like a software developer, entry level software developer. The entry level software developers packages vary from 3 lakhs to 20 lakhs, depending on the service based company to product based company. So let's just assume we are concentrating on service based companies. So in service-based companies, the pay scale weighs around 3 lakhs to 10 lakhs per annum for entry-level developer. But when the same developer has an Azure certification, or he has some on-hands experience in Azure, the pay scale varies from 4 lakhs to 16 lakhs for an entry-level developer. This is not an exaggeration, but this is the truth. You can go to Glassdoor, Ambition Box, even Google reviews. You could find that Azure cloud engineers or Azure developers get paid more than a normal developer does. So that's the earning potential of Azure certification. It doesn't mean that the other developers are any kind of lesser than you, but you have just a greater advantage on them, because you have extra skill that they don't possess. So that's what it's about. And the knowledge and skill boost, like any certification, when you want to do any certification, you are gonna put that extra amount of time, extra amount of effort, so that you acquire new skills and new knowledge about new things. So with that, you hone your current skills and you can increase your current competencies as well. They would add on to your competencies and they might even improve your current competencies. So you might be a developer who's developing apps on local machine and you are deploying it to some hosting provider. But if you learn uh, about Azure and you have hands-on experience about it, you could build apps on Azure itself. You could host them there. So you do all the things at once at one place without much dependencies. The infrastructure could be handled by Azure or by you, but these are different things. These are IaaS or PaaS offerings. So it depends on the things that you do, but it eases your work, and by that you are increasing your knowledge and skills. So and it could even establish a new groundwork to implement to more sophisticated working environment at your workplace or some project that you are working on. And the final thing is proof of commitment. This is very important, and this is very big than the other four factors, because proof of commitment is not a normal thing that people would usually see in everyone. So, getting an Azure certification is by no means an easy task. It's a hard task. Trust me, I have 3 to 4 certifications of Azure. So I know how hard it is to acquire a certification after learning for months or days. So that's how hard it is. This proves that you are able to commit, since you have to go through a lot to get one certification itself. To get a certificate, you have to learn via a course or educational videos or blogs, docs, refer case studies. So this is a uh, hefty task that you have to do to pass the exam itself. This implies that you can commit your time and resources towards achieving a goal without losing focus. People lose focus over time because this is a tenacious task, and we have to put more resources or time into it. But if you are dedicated to doing a certification, that means that you are committed towards achieving a goal. So that's what this is about. That's why it's important to get certified. I'm not specifically talking about Azure, but any specific certification that you should do. But since our topic is Azure certifications, we are generally focusing on Azure certifications itself. But it's good to be certified in your niche. So don't lose an opportunity to get certified in your niche. And if this doesn't still convince you, let's go to this. Let me go to the next slide. Here's why. As you can see, uh, this is a Times of India article, and it says that more than 10% of IT jobs are covered by cloud, which means without a cloud skill, you can't get into 0. I mean, 10% of jobs. So you are losing on 10% of jobs because you don't have a cloud skill. So it's not a bad thing to have extra skill and get extra exposure, right? So it's good to be in that 10% and get more exposure and get more career opportunities than others. And based on the statistics and metrics, it says that cloud market is expanding globally and even more in India. So in India, cloud market is predicted to grow more than 26% by end of 2022 this year, which means there are more companies that are going to be using this, and the existing companies are going to use it more and more than previous, which means there is a lot more job opportunities that are going to come on, which essentially means that this is a new career opportunity or learning potential for you, and earning potential for you as well. You have to learn to earn, so it's a vice versa kind of thing. And if this doesn't even, even if this doesn't reason with you, let's see one more reason. Yep, this is the reason. Last year, Microsoft and Monster came together and conducted an hiring event exclusively for Microsoft certified people. This is exclusively for Microsoft certified people, which means if you, even if you have a fundamental certification, you are eligible to attend this event, and there is an opportunity for you. You could crack the job easily than others because you have a certification. And trust me, 40 plus companies attended this. Came to this event to hire people. There were more than 600 or 600 plus opportunities. I think 380 or 400 plus people were hired. I also attended the event just to see how it was going on and all. It went well. It happened in December 2021. Hopefully, they are gonna do this again this year. So just remember, like, why do micro a big company like Microsoft has to do this? They are doing this because they are investing in their people and the people who trust them. So since you are trusting Microsoft and their certifications, they are helping you in in advance by saying that you could attend this event because you are certified and you could get a better opportunity than what you have now. So that's how good it is. So these are my 2 cents on why you should be certified in Azure Cloud. With that being said, the why part is done, but the how and what part is left, right? So how do we do this? Let's move on to that. How? So the simple motto anyone would say is start learning, practice more, and get certified. Regarding certifications, it's obvious, isn't it? Doesn't that seem fishy to you? It seems fishy to me, because if everything was that simple and a three-step approach, we wouldn't be here, right? So that's not how it usually is. Since I have set the premise, I will deep dive into the topic now. So, how do we do this? How are we gonna check out on what kind of certification paths are out there and which one best suits you? So, let's move on to that thing. Yep. So, these are the list of certification paths that are primary certification paths in Azure. So, in the image that you see here, there are 15, 10 plus certifications that are there. Although these don't contribute to every and each and every single Azure certification exam, these are the most usual or common ones, uh, based on the number of people who attend and number of jobs and number of roles out there. So these are the basic or most attempted exams out there. So these are the certification paths, general certification paths. The top level, as you could see, are three fundamental exams. There is also one that's added recently, the Security Fundamentals. So that also comes into that top layer. So these are Azure Fundamentals, Azure Fundamentals, and Azure Data Fundamentals. The fundamental exams are a good to have certifications, and they are essentially for beginners or who know very little about cloud. So you could get started on the fundamental exams to just get familiar about Azure. So the Azure fundamental exams is about core services of Azure, like compute, storage, network. If you are familiar, like how a computer and how hard disks, how databases work, and how networks work, this would be a very easy exam for you. But if you are very unfamiliar with tech or cloud, this is the good starting point for you. And coming to AI and data fundamentals, there are two specific fundamental exams essentially targeted for AI professionals and data professionals, like data science professionals. So if you are a newcomer to cloud, or if you are a student who is looking on to getting certified in cloud or Azure, these are the two good starting points for you. You could start pursuing these fundamental exams, and then you would understand how these work and what kind of services Azure has to offer under the certification. And you get familiar with Azure, and you would also have hands-on experience, because during these learning paths you would have on-hand labs as well, which are uh, pretty much free for you, because these are provided freely by Azure for you. Varun, can you give me a second?
Yeah, can you please repeat?
Yeah, I will be back in 10 seconds. Someone
Yeah,
was
yes.
knocking. So, yeah.
So guys, till then our mentor is coming back. If you guys have any kind of queries, kindly put that down in the comment section and our mentor will be happy to help you out. Yeah, he'll be back within 5 seconds.
I'm back, guys. Yeah, where did I left off? Yeah, regarding the fundamentals. So these are the good to have certifications. These are the beginning parts of your Azure certification journey. You get to learn about Azure. You get to use Azure for free. You get to know more about Azure, and you are certified on Azure. So that's it, right? Like you started learning, you upskilled, you learned new skills, you have acquired new knowledge, and you are certified. That's a good thing, and that's a good starting point. And the next level is associate level. Once you are good with the fundamentals, and by means fundamentals are optional certifications, you don't have to do them mandatorily, but they are good to have. If you have these certifications, you would be familiar with the next points, right? You have knowledge on theory part, and some on hands experience, and etc etc, which would give you a added leverage to pursue the next certification, which is an associate level certification. And coming to associate level, these certifications prove that you already have some level of on hands experience, and have necessary knowledge to understand the services and terminology used in the Azure services. And by that, you start your learning path and you get certified in the associate level exams. We are gonna deep dive into almost all of these associate and expert level exams in the coming slides. Moving on, the expert level certifications. Expert level certifications are some of the certifications that are acquired by professionals who have multiple years of experience with Azure or immense knowledge on Azure, who already possess associate level exam certification. It is mandatory to have a associate level certification to attempt a expert level certification, because it assumes that if you are trying to uh, attempt a expert level exam, it's a waste of your money and time if you don't possess the knowledge of an associate level. So you need to have a mandatory associate level certification to even attempt the expert level exam. So that's how Azure deals about it. This means that you are already a specialist in that niche if you pass the expert level certification, and that's the end point of that niche. With the expert level certification, you are at top of your niche in that particular field. So you could see here there are two expert level certifications: solutions architect and DevOps engineer. There are multiple others that I didn't put here. Like there are network administrators. There is security architect, security professional or security architect. There are several other things that are related to SAP, loads, etc., etc. These are the primary paths, so I didn't include those specialist expert certifications here, but there are several out there. So that's how the certification levels work in Azure, and these are the primary certification paths in Azure. Feel free to comment on that any question you have here, and we will try to answer it in timely intervals. Yeah, moving on. Let's see some scenarios. Like people might be wondering, like which scenario I'm in, and which one works for me. Which learning path should I take? Which certification should I take? Which is good for me? So let's go to the scenarios. So let's say that you are someone new into tech. You don't know much about cloud, which means you are pretty much at an entry level of cloud or entry level of software engineering. So since you're new to technology and cloud, an entry level certification would give you the vocab and understanding that's needed to better assess where you might want to go next. You might not understand like which suits you better. So to make you understand which suits you better, the first path that you should take is Azure Fundamentals. Azure Fundamentals would give you the overview of entire Azure core services, and the necessary knowledge that you need, necessary info that you need, so that you could assess your skills based on your learning path, based on your learning journey. You could literally say that I could understand this part more, so let's pursue this part more than the other things. So you would understand like where you stand it, and you would move on to that particular path instead of going in different paths at once. So that's why the Azure Fundamentals or the exam code AZ/900 is the best learning path or certification for a total beginner or total entry level candidate into cloud. By means, I mean entry level into cloud. Any software professional who don't know about cloud, or any student who don't even understand technology much. So this is a beginner kind of thing. From this, you could understand pretty much everything that you need to know for the further use cases. You could pursue a new thing, build your career upon that thing, or you could pursue some other thing based on your interest, and it could help you in your project work or in your college work or in your own startup. So that's how this Azure Fundamental Certification works. Moving on, let's go to next scenario. Let's just say I'm not new to tech. I'm an entry level software engineer, or I pretty much have a good coding experience, pretty good knowledge on how computers work or networks work, basic knowledge on how computers and networks work, how storage is stored, etc., etc. And I know little bit about Azure Cloud. By means of little bit, I would understand that cloud is something where you could do all the things that you could via your laptop via cloud. There is a meme that goes on that says cloud is nothing but someone else's computer. Although it's true, it's not. very true, because it's not someone's computer, it's your computer, but it is being managed by Azure. They can't log into it. You yourself can only log into it, while they handle the software upgrades or hardware upgrades or cooling down or charging it up or network speed, bandwidth, etc., etc. So that's how it works. So due to this, you might think I already know a bit about cloud, Azure cloud. I already know like what the compute offerings they have, what the network offerings they have, the storage offerings they have, and how these work intermittently or when interconnected. So the best certification path that you could take is Azure Administrator Associate, because you already have a fundamental knowledge on Azure cloud and the services they offer. So this is the learning path or certification path that you should take, which would give you better opportunities at your career or improves your knowledge at Azure in a generic or core services point of view. Yep. Okay. So we covered two scenarios. One is a fundamental scenario. Next one is an associate level scenario. There are multiple scenarios out there, but I am gonna only discuss a few scenarios right now for the time being. We could go into deep in the Q&A session, so that I could give you insights from what I know, or I could guide you. I mean, in some path that I don't know, but someone else from our Azure developer community team would guide you in the path that you think that's right for you. Because I by no means an expert in all of these certifications in all of these niches. No one is an expert in all of these fields. So I could guide you in some path that I don't know, but someone else would help you. So join our Discord community. There are multiple people out there in different roles and different levels of experience. They could guide you if you have some questions that we can't answer in the Q&A right now. So moving on, let's go on to the scenario 3. Yeah, I'm not new to tech, or and I have pretty good hands-on experience with Azure Cloud, which means I already possess a associate level or multiple years of hands-on experience with Azure. So, which learning path or certification should I pursue? So, what do you think? There is no single answer to this, because you might be a database professional who already has several years of experience, be it on on-prem or be it on cloud. But you might want to be pursuing data engineering path, because you want to transition your career to that path, or you want to stay in the same path and you want to become a database administrator. So it depends on your career choices and your interest. So it depends on the field you are in and the path you want to pursue. So there is no single answer to this. So with this scenario, the three possible basic scenarios are done. Let's deep dive into the different roles that you could be in multiple years, like in few years, if you pursue the certification paths with a proper learning way and proper knowledge acquirance. So there are few roles that every software professional would want to be or desire to be at after few years. So these are those roles that everyone aspires to be in the software engineering field. There are several other roles as well, but these are the basic or highly known roles in software engineering. The role paths. So these are multiple role paths that people look at and want to be in their career after several years. Like I want to be at an architect level at a major company or a product company. I want to earn this much money, or I want to be satisfied at my role, and I want to do great work that deals with multiple, millions of people and improves their lives. So these are the role paths that could define this journey. So these are the role paths people aspire to be, and these role paths are could be acquired through Azure certification journey as well. So let's see what are the role paths. The architect, artificial engineer, artificial intelligence engineer, data science professional, data engineering professional, developer software, DevOps professional, database administration, security professional. There are several other things that, like I mentioned previously, network professional, SAP, workload administrator. Several other things that could be done as well, but those are specialty niche certifications that are not included in the generic certification part. So I skipped out on these for now. But if you want to know more about them, do join our Discord community, and maybe someone from our team could help you out. Yeah. Moving on. Yeah. Since I mentioned these role paths could be achieved by Azure, let's see how these role paths could be achieved. Which certifications that you need to do to be at that point in your career to be in this role. So let's see. Let's look at the architect level certification path. So, like I said, there are three levels: fundamentals, associate, and expert. So everyone starts at the fundamental level, and fundamental level is not a mandatory thing, but it's a good to have thing. It would be good to have a fundamental certification because that proves that you came from, I mean, you started from scratch and learned time over time. But if you start from associate and go to expert, that's fine as well, because that's what you want to pursue. Yeah. So the learning path for architect looks like this: AG 900 Azure Fundamentals. Then you could go on and pursue Azure Administrator Associate AZ 104, or you could go with a different path of Azure Developer Associate AZ 204, and then you try to pursue the expert level certification, which is AZ 500 Azure Security Engineer Associate, or you could skip on that and just move on to Azure Solutions Architect Expert, because you already have one of the associate level exams or certifications, and you could just directly move on to the Azure Solutions Architect Expert. So the Azure Solutions Architect is spanned into two exams because of its difficulty and the topics it holds. Since architect level certification needs you to manage, create, handle infrastructure for an entire organization, and that spans our globe, and you need to handle it efficiently. It broke down topics into two certifications or two exams. So that's why there were two exams out there. You need to pass the exam one to attempt the exam two. I think this is going to be merged soon, or this is already merged soon. Azure keeps changing its exam codes and syllabus from time to time, so that you get to know new things about Azure that are Azure has been implementing and all. So that's how the architect level certification path is right now. Moving on, artificial intelligence professional. So let's just say you are someone who want to pursue the artificial intelligence domain, and you want to be a professional in that field, and you also have interest in cloud. So since you already are interested in artificial intelligence, there are two fundamental exams that you could take. One is Azure 900 and other is A 900. I mean, Azure Fundamentals talk about the core services of Azure Compute Storage Network, while AI Fundamentals talk about the AI services or AI offerings that Azure has to offer. There is Azure Builder, and there are Chatbot Builder. There are several other services that Azure has to offer in the AI and data science space. So you could pursue the Azure AI Fundamentals, but we recommend you to do Azure Fundamentals before you go on to pursue AI Fundamentals, because although the AI Fundamentals give you an overview of the services that you need to use, these are directly dependent on the services that were discussed in the Azure Fundamentals. So you would need a compute resource to run your AI model. You would need some storage to store your data or model. You would need some kind of network configuration to set up your data science pipelines, etc., etc. So that's why we recommend you to do AZ 900 or Azure Fundamentals first, and then move on to the Azure AI Fundamentals exam, because these things would pretty much intertwine where they work. And after that, you could pursue the Azure AI Engineer Associate, which would be very good for your career, because you are already interested in artificial intelligence field. And then you would this is a recommended thing, like I said again, since you already possess Azure AI Engineer, it's upon you to pursue the Azure Admin Associate or not. But we also recommend this because This would help you even more to set up the pipelines in a deeper understanding, and you would understand how many compute resources that you need, and how network configurations, what kind of load balancers that you need to set up, what kind of health checks that you need to do on your AI models, what kind of metrics and diagnostics that you need to set up, and all. So these would be understood once you have good understanding on core services and AI services of Azure. So the fundamentals give you an overview on core services and AI services, but the associate level exams give you the higher level overview. I mean, the deep overview in the core services and AI services. So that's how artificial intelligence certification path is right now. Yeah, and like I said, the syllabus keeps changing, so you need to be updated from time to time to be at top of your field and to be at top of Azure. And Azure also has this expiry date for associate and expert level exams. So which means if you pursue an exam, you might have to renew your certification after 1 year or 1.5 year, depending on the certification that you took. The renewal process is something like this: like you have attempted administrator level exam and you have passed it this month. So after 1 year exactly, you have to take a renewal exam for free, and they would only give you the questions from the updated syllabus. So let's say there are 10 topics this year when you have attempted, but in the next year the syllabus have changed and there are 12 topics right now. Like there is a new service coming up and there is a updated feature, so there are two new topics. You would get questions from these two new topics in the renewal exam. You are not gonna attempt all the 12 topics again. So that's how the renewal exam is, and there are multiple attempts to it is as well. You would get mails from Azure team or Microsoft certification support team regarding the renewal if you have already passed certification and you are nearing your expiry date. So that's how the associate and expert level certification expiry works. Yeah. Do stop me if you think I am going too fast or something. Do let me know in the comments so that I could slow down, or yeah, I could reduce my pace. Moving on, the data science. People might think AI and science is the same thing, but it's not actually. So there are different things coming to Azure, particularly for AI and data science. So AI is mostly used for anomaly detection or some other things that were automatically detected and are detected by Azure services. There are pre-built algorithms that you could make use of, while data science is something that you could build your own models. You could make your own Jupyter notebooks. You could build your own pipelines and manage stuff on your own. There are pre-built algorithms as well in the data science path, but it's mostly on you. You could do everything. Like you could pre-configure everything that you need. So the same thing goes with data science as well. You would need to have a good understanding on core services before you move on to the data path. To be a good data science professional, you need to understand what kind of databases that you need to use, what kind of warehouses or uh, storage solutions that you need to use to store your data, manage your data, wrangle your data, even create pipelines for your data, so that your data solution is a good thing. I mean, it's the essential thing for any company. Without good data or without good data propagation solution or transmission solution, it wouldn't be effective thing to work with a company. So this is an essential thing for any company. And to be good at it, you need to have a good understanding of core services of Azure, and then you move on to the Azure data fundamentals. The data fundamentals comprise the fundamental aspects and a little bit hands-on about databases and data warehouses, the solutions Azure has to offer in the storage space in deep, uh, on a higher level. And then you have to move on and get into the data science associate, and this is a recommended thing, Azure admin associate, because like I said, both artificial intelligence and data science services in Azure rely on compute network storage, uh, directly or indirectly. So it would be good to have it would be good to have that you have good understanding on compute storage and network resources, which is a admin thing in Azure. Moving on, the data engineering part. Varun, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Please tell.
Can you hear me? Am I audible? I think my
Yeah,
network went down a second.
no, no, you are perfectly audible. You were talking something about data fundamentals and all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gotcha. So moving on, the data engineering path. So the data engineering path, people might wonder what's even a data engineering path, because this is unfamiliar to beginners or students in general. So data engineering is a practice where people build and design solutions to collect, store, analyze data at scale. So this is a big data thing. It's a broad field with applications in every industry. Organizations, just think of this way, like 3 or 4 years back, we used to buy 1 GB of data for 50 rupees or 70 rupees from our mobile network provider. But now we get it for 1 rupee. 1 GB usually costs 1 rupee for us if we take a bigger pack. So that's how cheap it has become. Due to this cheaper data usage or mobile internet usage, there is massive data consumption or massive data production as well. Due to this, there is massive amounts of data that is being stored, transmitted, and used by companies around the globe. And to deal this in an effective way, data engineers come into play. Data engineers make life of data scientists and analysts easy by building solutions that easily store, manage, and analyze this data at scale. So they deal with big data at most part. So that's about data engineering, and the paths usually is same. Like data engineer would have to get into data fundamentals path first, and then pursue into the data engineering path. So since they need to know about the core services of Azure, they need to get into AZ900, AZ104. They need to pursue DP900, which is data fundamentals, to understand what kind of storage solutions are out there. And then at the end, they have to pursue the Azure Data Engineer Associate, which is the end point or achievement of for that data engineering role that they want to be in. Moving on, the developer path. So this is the most used path or most pursued path in Azure, and this is a pretty long path than the others because of a developer's life cycle. You could be a data engineer within 3 to 4 years, but if you want to be a senior software developer or a uh, senior most software developer in a industry, you would at least need 7 to 8 years of experience to be at that point. The experience count reduces depending on companies, but it's usually 7 to 8 years. So to be at that point, people have to pursue AZ900, Azure Core Services Fundamentals, AZ104, Core Services Associate level, and 204 is the Developer Associate level. So they develop solutions based on Azure services. They use REST APIs, SDKs, CLIs, or PowerShell that Azure has to offer, and they integrate these solutions into their own product or project they are working on at their workplace or in their own startup. And then they could pursue the security engineer associate, which is recommended but not mandatory. So the all other things on the right are um, not mandatory things, but are good to have. Since you are a developer, I mean, if you want to be at a senior software developer position, it's good to have that understanding on security aspect as well. You need to understand how security is handled, and if you understand security, I mean, how security is being handled and how you could improve your code standards from the security standpoint, you would expect to be certified here, and it's a good to have things. If you are certified here, you would automatically be, I mean, knowledgeable about the security standpoint, and you would automatically do the things that the company don't even expect you to do. And moving on, the solutions architect expert. So this comes to infrastructure part. Since you are a developer, you only, I mean, people only think that developers only develop code or design applications from a code standpoint, but that's not just it. Like you could run your code on a small machine and it runs slower than usual, you could run your code on a big machine, like it has 120 CPUs, or it's a big GPU machine. It would run faster there. But the GPU machine costs more than a usual laptop because of its configurations. So that's the same thing with the infrastructure as well. You need to be efficient and cost effective as well at your infrastructure. If you are a developer who could handle infrastructure as well, it's a good to have option. Like IAC is a major thing that's been there out there for like 10 to 12 years. Uh, Terraform is there. Recently, Azure came up with the Bicep as well. So these are the things that people use to deploy resources at scale automatically without their involvement. Like they could put a code template that says spawn 10 virtual machines anytime where the load is above 90%. So it would do that automatically, and you could do this via code. So if you are a solutions level architect, you would understand the infrastructure and you would also code it as well, using the infrastructure as code tools or coding paradigm. So that's about it. And like I said, the solutions level architect is spanned into two different exams because of its scale and importance and complexity. And then there is Devops Engineer. Like I said, being a senior software developer, you it's good to be in everything at your company. Like you need to understand all aspects of your company that you are dealing with end to end. So there is DevOps aspect of that as well. So it's a good to have one. Then that's an optional one. You don't need to pursue that if you don't want to. So that's the developer path for I mean, in Azure, to be at a senior software level or a managerial or lead engineer level at your professional journey in 6 or 7 years journey. It could even happen less than that, but yeah, it depends on you and the companies that you apply for, or the hiring or increment that happens at your company and workplaces. Moving on, the database admin. So the database administration is a complex thing, like any individual understands, because there are several databases out there. There are several kinds of databases out there. There are relational databases, NoSQL, SQL, and the NoSQL has different offerings, like multiple offerings, and the SQL has multiple offerings. SQL has Microsoft SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, etc., etc. While NoSQL has MongoDB, Cassandra DB, CouchDB. In Azure, it's Cosmos DB. So these are the types of offerings that are out there that a database admin should handle in the cloud. So to do that, like I said, the core services also play a major part because the storage aspect is in core services of Azure. So to understand that, you need to have AZ900 and AZ104, and sorry, you need to have AZ900 and AZ104, and also data fundamentals, because you need to understand how data is being handled, and how data is being stored as well. So that's about DP900, the fundamentals of it. And then you need to have the DP300, Azure Database Admin Associate. That's the endpoint or achievement that you need to achieve to be a database admin, or I mean, in that kind of role within few years, or within, yeah. Moving on, the DevOps. Anyone, I mean, every company has the DevOps professionals based on the projects they have, based on the people that, yeah, they use. Like the headcount is usually about 100 to 7 or 100 to 10. Like for every 100 people in a project, there would be 7 to 10 people in DevOps team who handles the multiple stages of deployments, integrations, or bug fixes, hot fixes, anything like that. So in cloud, since the generation of cloud is now like cloud native, and apps and websites are being built in cloud and deployed in cloud instead of being built local and being uploaded to cloud. So due to this, there is a heavy demand in DevOps as well, and specifically, this has become a cloud only thing now. People use Azure DevOps or AWS DevOps because they only use it in their company, or they use it like there is a multi-cloud approach. People use the multiple clouds, and they use their own the cloud's DevOps solution instead of building their own DevOps solution. because the cloud DevOps solution offers the major offerings like the popular offerings, Jenkins, Circle CA. They are already integrated into Azure by default because they are pretty much used by everyone. So to ease these things and to improve their security and software standards, they use the cloud's DevOps offering instead of doing it on their own. So to be a DevOps professional, this is the part that you need to take. And like I said, you need to have a good understanding on core services before you do anything else on Azure, because the core services handle the majority of business, like the web apps, the services that you do, like the APIs, data, etc. Everything is being handled by core services. So without understanding the core services, you can't move on and just become an DevOps engineer expert, because you have to handle these before you move on to this thing. So that's why there is this path which is needed. AZ900 is needed, AZ104 is needed, then developer associate is needed, because in DevOps you have to integrate the code as well, right? So to do that, you need to understand why and how is going code is being built and used and integrated. And then there is security engineer associate, which is not a mandatory thing, but it is a good to have thing, because if you understand the security aspect as well, there would be a good DevSecOps principles in your company instead of just it being a DevOps principle. Yeah. So that's about the DevOps professional certification path in Azure that would help you become a Azure DevOps professional within few years down the line. Moving on, the security professional. Yeah, the cyber security or security has been a top hot topic for the past 2 years because of pandemic and all. People were doing more digital transactions than ever because they can't leave their homes, and because of the pandemic situation. Due to this, there were a lot more incidents. There are a lot more cyber security attacks happening. There are a lot more ransomware attacks, malware attacks being happening because people were essentially relying on their devices instead of hardcore cache or hardcore checks, etc. So to avoid these kinds of situations, Azure came up with security solutions. They keep upgrading their security solutions from time to time to provide their clients and customers that the services that Azure provides are safe and secure. They have their own compliance standards. They have the existing compliance standards as well. So this is a good role, or I would say the hot role that's in the industry right now. There are a lot more jobs in cybersecurity field than ever. It's expected to be increased by 30%, as per my knowledge, which means there are gonna be a lot more jobs in the cybersecurity field. So it is very good to be in cybersecurity right now. And if you want to have an additional advantage in that cybersecurity field, I would very much recommend you to do this certification path to become the Azure security professional and be at top of your field. And with that, the generic certification paths of Azure are done. There are many other certification paths which include new services of Azure that involve IoT, and the specialized network engineering specialization certification that came up last year, I guess. So these are some of other specialist or new certifications that are out there on Azure. You could pretty much go to Azure Docs or Azure Learning site. You would find all of the certification exams out there. If you want me to show, I could quickly share my screen and show you what kind of services are out there in Azure. Let me quickly open up Docs to showcase kind of certifications are out there. Give me a moment. Yep, share a window. Uh, Varun, let me know if you can see my screen so that I can proceed.
Yeah, I think now your screen is visible. Microsoft Technical Documentation.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I will proceed. So this is where you could learn. anything about Azure, the learning paths that I have mentioned, the certification exams that you could pursue, anything that you want to know, the syllabus, the examples, the on-hand labs that you have. So this is the site docs.microsoft.com, and when you go there, go to the learn part of that. So I just click on learn. It would take me to the page of learn. uh, if I have signed in, it would show what kind of path that I have already started on, and etc etc. Yeah, I think this is how it would show, like if you want to be administrator and you are a beginner, this is the path that you need to take, and you just completed 70% of it. So if you complete 100% of the path, that means that you are eligible, or you are at least knowledgeable to pursue that certification, and be confident and comfortable with it. So this is how learning paths in Azure work. So I would go to the certifications. Yeah, let's go to certifications. I could pick, since Microsoft has other products like .NET is built by Microsoft, Dynamics is CRM of Microsoft. There is Defender for Endpoint Manager. There is Power Platform, which involves Power BI or Power Apps, which is usually for business people with low code or no code solutions. Let's not, uh, think about them for now, because this is pretty much for Azure right now. Let me check in for Azure. It would give me multiple results, and it has all these roles. So let's just say I'm a student. I click on student, and since I'm a student, it expects me to be a beginner on the certification types are usually fundamental ones. So I want to look at the certifications. I will check in the certifications. It gave me four results. So the Microsoft Certified Azure Fundamentals AZ900, Certified Azure AI Fundamentals AA900. The exam code is AA900. The certification name is Azure AI Fundamentals. So the exam codes vary, but the names stay the same. So these are the four fundamental certifications that you could pursue in Azure. Let me open up one. So this is the Azure Fundamentals AZ900, which is a mandatory thing for everyone, and not a mandatory thing. This is a beginner starter point for anyone, be it you are a student, be it you are new to cloud, be it you are a software professional, but you don't, you didn't venture into Azure yet. So this is a good starting point for you. So you come here, you check out what's the syllabus is by looking at where is the syllabus. Yeah. Yeah, I click on the skills measured, and it would say that you would be measured on the cloud concepts, define cloud computing, etc., etc. So it would give you the breakdown of what you would learn and what you would need to learn to attempt the exam. So this is the stuff that you need to learn, and these are the things that you need to learn before you need to attempt the exam. This might seem intimidating, but these are pretty much the fundamentals that you need to learn. And in my point of view, people who have attempted this after 5 to 7 days of learning, they have passed it with flying colors. So this is not a big thing. You might take your own pace, but this is not a uh, tough thing that you can't break or crack. So this could be done, and this is done by multiple people that I am familiar with, like friends in my circle, people in my circle that I know of. They are not even from software background, but they easily passed this because they have put in their effort, and they learned this stuff. So this is the exam syllabus, and this is where you could learn. So Azure provides two kinds of offerings. Microsoft offers two kinds of offerings where you could learn stuff for free. So they provide the online free learning path where you could go on and start your learning path and start learning. They would provide you all kinds of things that you need to understand by videos, by on-hand labs, by breaking down each topic into subtopics. And once you are done with this learning path, that means that you are pretty much good to go and attempt the exam. Yeah, and the exam fees might look intimidating, but let's just change it to India, and this cost 3,600, which is not a big thing. And one good thing about Azure is Azure provides one offering. every fundamental exam could be written for free if you attend the virtual training days. So Azure has this virtual training days that keeps on going from week to week, time to time. So you just need to Google for virtual training days on Azure. You would find, yeah, this is the link, mvtd.events.microsoft.com. Look for this link, open it up. You would find that there are multiple events going on from time to time based on Azure. So let's just say I am interested in fundamentals. So I will click on fundamentals, see what kind of fundamental trainings are happening, and it says that at on 30th May at morning 9 Indian Standard Time there is an event. So I could register to this event with my personal mail. Never use your company mail to register for these events because Azure stores your mail to link your certifications. So if you join with your company mail and you change your company, you might lose your access to the certifications. So always use your personal mail. If you don't have a Microsoft mail, you could create one and use it. So that's what I do usually. So yeah, since the event is nearing, the virtual training day is filled with seats. So we could go on and register for something else. Like yeah, let's just do this. Yeah, it would ask you for your name, email, etc. Always fill in the email that I like told you, your personal email, so that you would get a notification to the event. And attending this event would give you the voucher to attend the exam for free. Uh, I'm not kidding. So take the Microsoft Azure Fundamentals exam at no cost, which means you could essentially save. Where is this? Yeah, you could essentially save 4,000 rupees by learning and attending the event and completing the exam. You are learning something, you are getting the certification at no cost. So you are improving yourself for free. So this is a thing that people are not, I mean, everyone is not aware of. So you could take advantage of this by learning, attending the webinars, and learn what they were saying there, take notes, and get to know like what kind of things are there in Azure, and complete these learning paths. These learning paths would have on-hand labs as well, which means they would give you some resources to do with Azure. Like they would let you create virtual machines, they would let you play around with them, and you could understand how stuff works in Azure. And by means you would know like how stuff works. Everyone knows. I mean, it's like child play. How would children learn? They would try something and then keep trying. They keep trying, and at some point of time, they understand how to do it. So they try to walk, they try to keep walking, but they can't get it. But one day they will get that momentum and they will start walking. The physical I mean, the physical strength helps them up, but also the mental strength. So you need the mental strength and patience and endurance to complete these exams. These might feel intimidating or overwhelming, but I assure you these are not overwhelming if you plan your day perfectly. So you could just plan 1 hour of the day to learn for the fundamental exams, and it would take you 10 or 12 days to understand all the stuff that you have in the fundamental exam or certification learning path. And by that you could just attend the webinar that I like mentioned, the virtual event days of Microsoft Azure. You would get the free voucher at no cost, and you could attempt the exam. And the upside of this is, even if you fail the exam, you could re-attend the webinar and you could get a new voucher again. So this is a good thing. Don't be afraid of failures. Failures would only make you even more confident, because you might not be experienced with the online certification exams or offline certification exams, because this is a new thing to you. You might feel intimidated or you might feel timid about it, and you might not perform as your best should. So yeah, don't worry about the outcome, but do worry about the learning that you should take. So yeah, on that note, I will stop sharing my screen, and I will share all these links in the Discord channel. Since the live chat is gonna end soon and the links are gonna disappear, I'm gonna post all of these links in Discord. So do join our Discord community. Varun, can you drop the link of our Discord community in the live chat so that people could join and we could drop the links there? Sounds good, Varun?
Yeah, I have just started with a ticker. Like on the bottom of your screen, you must be able to see the you know that must be coming. Join our Discord channel, and the link is given, so you guys can please join our Discord community. We have many amazing mentors like Chaitanya sir and others as well to solve your queries. Just come up and ask your queries. One or the other person will surely help you out with Azure certifications, or any trouble with Azure portal or any kind of queries. So yeah, you can benefit that from there as well. So as of now, let's wrap up with the session.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
thank you very much, Chaitanya sir, for coming here and taking out your time on the weekend for the community folks. It was really very amazing to know about how in depth you taught about each and every certification and everything. So thank you very much, and hope to see you in the another sessions as well.
sure. Thank
Thank
you, Varun. Yeah. Take care.